On a previous video, Claude Fable 5 built this entire habit tracker application, which has straight reminders, a native widget, a heat graph of my consistency, haptics, and I would definitely consider it a production-ready application. But the only issue with Fable 5 is that it's extremely expensive. It's just not possible to afford it sometimes. It costs $10 in and $50 out per million tokens, versus GPT Soul cost $5 and $50. So it's 40 to 50% cheaper per token. The question is whether cheaper means worse. That's why today we're giving Soul the exact same plan, exact same skills, the same MCP server, and the same starting project as Fable 5. I'm using extra high reasoning and no steering. And the only test that really matters, does the application actually work on my physical device? Let's get into it. So I published a video 3 days ago. I'm gonna link it in the description. It is this one in where I actually built this entire application from scratch. So this is the benchmark for today's video. I wanna see if Soul 5.6 with high reasoning effort is able to compete with Fable. In this video, I actually added a document that you can reference as well in case you're curious, which has commands on how to actually build the application yourself, but it also has the prompt. So for the application, we're gonna be using Expo. I used to work at Expo, helping hundreds of thousands of developers build their application. And trust me when I tell you, Expo is the best framework to build applications that work on iOS and Android. So in this video, I'm not going to show you how to create the project or set up your computer to start creating applications. I covered that in the Fable 5 video, so if you want to learn just that specific part, check it out, the link is in the description. But let's open ChatGPT. By the way, in case you missed it, now ChatGPT and Codex live on the same desktop application. This is how it looks. I'm in the Codex tab. You can switch on the left. I already created a new Expo project, so let's add it here. I'm gonna use an existing folder and I called it Habits GPT. Let's open it. And now we're working in this project. Couple things to notice. I'm giving GPT full access. That means that it doesn't have to ask me questions, or I don't have to approve manually anything. And I'm also using Soul 5.6 with extra high thinking effort. I've been using extra high for the past week and I feel like it's the best you can get. It's also gonna take more time and you're gonna get a lot of warnings like enable fast mode, but I always dismiss it since I always want the highest quality response possible. First thing to do is just make sure that I'm using the same MCP server, code with Beto.dev. This is an MCP that me and my team built, and it provides agents with high quality examples and good code patterns so that agents can generate new code, following good examples that have survived production, especially for mobile apps with React Native and Expo. And we can say, can you access the code with Beto MCP just to make sure that GPT has access to it? In case you want to learn more, I'm going to leave a link in the description. So I can see that it has access to the MCP. Now, another thing that I used in my previous build with Fable 5 was the app icon skill. So in the document that I mentioned, you can find a link to my favorite skills. And it's actually titled my favorite Claude skills, but these skills work with any agent. So you can just copy the app icon. Now, the reason for that is because the plan that I'm pasting in a moment is going to ask GPT Soul to actually build the entire application from scratch. That includes giving it a name, and that includes also creating an app icon and giving it a personality, right? So you can open a terminal inside ChatGPT desktop application by pressing Command J, and you can press Command J again to toggle it, or if you prefer, at the top right, you can press the toggle button panel, which will open the terminal as well. We also have a side panel which will let you choose between terminal, browser, files. So let's press Command J. We are inside the folder and I'm just gonna run the command to add the skill to this specific folder. From here, you can just press enter a couple times until it is installed. You don't have to do anything else. Okay, the skill was installed successfully and now we can close the terminal. Now at this point, I'm just gonna paste the prompt and hit enter and let GPT 5.6 Soul with extra high effort do its work. Okay, quick update. We are 16 minutes in and still working in the architecture of the application, but I have to say that it's doing a great work. It loaded the tools, it's using the skills, it's using the MCP, reading the files, reading the context. It also searched the web for documentation on how to implement Expo widgets, and it's even viewing the images that is generating for the icon. So this icon was generated using the app icon skill. I honestly like it. We actually recently added support for GPT image 2.0. Okay, so Sol says that it's done. It took 35 minutes to build this entire application, at least version 1. For what I can see here, it implemented everything. I really like the icon that was able to generate using the app icon skill, and we can see it on the application on the right. Now, these numbers only matter if the application actually works. So let's go ahead and open it. Okay, and we got the first error, and this is because Sol stopped the server. So let's press Command J to open the terminal again, and let's start the server. I actually like that it did this, because with other agents, they leave the server running in the background, and sometimes I don't know that it's running and I need to stop it. So let's say npx expo start. And now that the server is running, I can press reload on the right. And this is the application. So we have the onboarding screen. It works with light, dark mode. We have an skip option, and I can actually enable reminders, and it will, with a great user experience, ask me if I want to receive notifications, and it's going to tell me why, right? So I can allow it. Boom. After that, we are taken to the home screen where we can see the empty state. It's handling it really nicely. Now, this view, the history view, is not centered, so that's a little detail. Let's go to the settings. It's using icons. This feels native. It's using Expo UI as I requested with native components. We have an option to send a test notification, so let's press it and let's see the notifications. Should arrive in a moment. There we have it. So rhythm is ready. I can long press it. I don't have any actions on the notification, but I can press it and it's going to take me to the application. We have an option to load sample data, and I ask for this. Let's press it and let's take a look at the application. Okay, so the home screen looks really clean. We have this nice transition that I really like. We can toggle. We can see that it's actually using a list that is fully native. I can long press and reorder items. I'm surprised. Let's just pause for a moment, because you just watch an idea become a real application running on a real iPhone, and nobody wrote code. That's mile one. But if you want to take this all the way to the App Store with real users, being able to update, save the progress, the whole thing, that's exactly what my book is, From Idea to App Store with Cloud Code or Codex. It's the mental model behind everything in this video, written for people who don't code. The planning, actually useful Claude skills that will save you weeks, everything bundled together in a comprehensive guide that you and your agent can use. Link in the description. Back to the video. When I press, I can feel the nice haptics. We have a nice animation when we complete everything. We're able to delete and also edit. So if I edit, it takes me to this screen. And funny enough, the items, they're going outside the container. And Fable 5 had the same issue. I was able to fix it just by prompting, hey, the items are off the screen. But overall, that's just, I guess, a little detail. Every time that I press something, I get a haptic. I can change the color. I gotta say, this is a bit awkward to use because I cannot dismiss the keyboard. If I press enter, we can select the days. We can add a reminder. A bit awkward to use. I would improve this UI, of course, but we can save it. And now I can see the actual habit here. So if we go to the history view, this is how it looks. I like this UI, to be fair. I think it's good. Looks really nice in dark mode. So the spacing, as you can see there, it's not very good. I can long press and it's gonna show me the zoom transition, which is really nice. Let's test the reorder here. Amazing, this looks really nice. So far it's great. Now the real test is to see if the widget actually works. Okay, let's minimize this when I long press, and I can see that I have 3 options. Let's go with the small one. Oh, please adopt container background API. I actually think this is an issue with the Expo widgets because Fable 5 had the exact same issue. So I'm gonna need to write a follow-up prompt for this. So I'm just gonna pass these two items to Sol 5.6 and let's see if we can fix it. So the follow-up prompt took 16 minutes. So we are, close to an hour, similar to Fable 5, but the widget is now working. We can see it on the right. We have large and we can see multiple widgets at the same time. Now this view actually it's a bit broken. I'm not gonna ask for a follow-up for that one, but overall it looks great. So looking at the context right here, we had actually one compression and I'm not entirely sure if these are all the tokens that we used. We have 68% left, but it did a compression before. So ChatGPT and OpenAI, they make it really hard to actually see the data on how many tokens we used. But overall, it took close to an hour to get the app working properly. And now I want to show you a side-by-side comparison of the two builds. So I have here on my physical phone the Rhythm application built by GPT Sol 5.6 with extra high effort, and on the right we have Ember, which is the application built by Claude Fable 5. The icons, they both use my agent skills, so I like both. Let's open them. This is the home screen on both devices. You tell me which one's better. The one thing that I'll give to GPT is that it was able to add the sortable list on the first try, and Fable 5 was not able to do that on the first try. So we can mark items as done. Both models were able to add dark mode successfully and it looks great on both. Then we have the habits tab. You can tell me which one looks better to you. I personally like both. Fable added a plus button that allows me to create a habit from this screen, while GPT called it history, and we can navigate with some transition to edit that specific habit. So the edit looks like this side by side. This one I think won GPT 5.6. It looks better. If we edit, this is how it looks by Fable 5. So a bit different, but the UI is similar as you can see there. I think GPT nailed it because it looks better. It has a better consistency overall. Then on the settings screen, we have the send test notification. Both models were able to add it seamlessly. They both added the load sample data and show the version and app name on the settings. So pretty much the same thing. And finally, let's take a look at the widget side by side. So GPT 5.6 generated small, medium, and large. Let's take a look. And I actually have both widgets installed here. So this is how a habit looks like. By the way, both are compatible with dark mode, as you can see there. And then we can increase to medium. So this is how it looks. Of course, at this point, I only have one. I'm gonna add a second one. This is how it looks. The bottom one is the one built by Fable 5, and Fable only added 2 size, which, adding an extra size wouldn't be too hard. But on the other side, GPT 5.6, it's cutting the habits and it's not displaying it very well. But if we switch to the large one, now it looks better. So is GPT 5.6 Sol better than Claude Fable 5? In this specific test, I would say yes, because it is way cheaper and the results that we got the first time were, to be fair, very close to Fable 5, but a bit better, because it was able to test the application by taking screenshots and iterating on it. Versus on Fable 5, I had to prompt twice a follow-up to make it work the first time. We had to fix similar issues in both applications. Some of them, like the Expo widget, has to do with a current issue that Expo needs to fix, but the agents were able both to work around it and write a patch and make it work somehow. On the widget, I would say that Fable 5 won because it's better, at least it's sorting the items better, and GPT 5.6, it's not handling the medium size correctly. On time, it took me an hour to build this application with each model, so an hour and an hour, almost no difference, using extra high effort thinking. And also GPT 5.6 remains undefeated on pricing. It was able to deliver almost the exact same experience as Claude Fable 5 for literally half the price. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, so please let me know in the comments which model do you think it's better, which UI and which app you think it's better. If you want access to the MCP, the private production code examples, and the React Native course behind the workflow, that's all inside the Pro lifetime access that you can get in the description. And if you want to see Fable 5 build the original application from scratch, step by step, the video is right here. Watch it next and let me know which model you're gonna use to build your application. See you in the next one.